What is this? Why are they here?
Ma'am, we received a report of a disturbance. This is about the fraud.
Fraud? We need a lawyer.
The first thing Nathan Brooks heard wasn't the shouting. It was the sound of a police radio crackling outside the clubhouse. Blue and red lights reflected across the HOA conference room windows as board members froze around a polished oak table. One woman hurriedly slid a thick binder into a briefcase. Nathan tightened his grip on a weathered folder, marked only one word: evidence. For months, everyone had called him paranoid. Within the next hour, the entire neighborhood would discover why he had refused to stay silent. But what exactly had been happening behind those closed HOA doors? If you enjoy stories where courage defeats corruption and justice always wins, subscribe and let's begin. 2 years earlier, Nathan Brooks believed he had found the perfect place to enjoy retirement. After 24 years in the U.S. Air Force, he and his wife Linda settled in the quiet community of Cedar Ridge, outside Denver, Colorado. The streets were clean, children played outside, neighbors waved every evening. It looked perfect. Then small things began to feel wrong. An elderly widow received thousands of dollars in landscaping fines despite keeping one of the nicest yards in the neighborhood. A disabled veteran was cited because his wheelchair ramp supposedly violated community appearance standards. Families who questioned HOA decisions suddenly found themselves facing inspection after inspection. Nathan noticed a pattern. The same board members approved every penalty. The same homeowners always seemed to benefit when another family moved away. Doesn't that seem strange? Nathan asked Linda one evening. She looked toward the clubhouse. I've wondered that myself. Nathan attended the next HOA meeting. Questions about missing budget reports were dismissed. Requests to review financial records were delayed. When he asked why executive sessions had become so frequent, HOA President Elaine Mercer smiled politely. Those discussions are confidential, but the decisions affect every homeowner, Nathan replied. That's all the board is prepared to discuss. The meeting ended within minutes. People left frustrated. Weeks later, Nathan met Harold Benson, the HOA's former treasurer. Harold looked exhausted. I made mistakes, he admitted quietly. What kind of mistakes? I trusted people I shouldn't have. Harold revealed that many financial decisions were approved without full board votes. Invoices appeared after payments had already been made. Reserve funds shrank without explanation. I kept copies, Harold whispered, but I was too afraid to speak. Nathan accepted a small envelope. Inside were spreadsheets, payment logs, and handwritten notes. It wasn't proof of a crime, but it was enough to raise serious questions. Attorney Daniel Ruiz reviewed the documents carefully. They're incomplete, he said, but they point toward something much bigger. Days later, an anonymous package appeared on Nathan's front porch. Inside was a flash drive. No note, no return address. Nathan opened the files. Hidden meeting recordings filled the screen. Board members discussed targeting outspoken homeowners with repeated violations until they sold their properties. If they leave, one voice said, new buyers won't know what happened. Nathan stared in disbelief. This changes everything. Detective Marcus Hale was cautious. Recordings alone aren't enough, he explained. We need documents that support what we're hearing. Nathan spent weeks comparing invoices, meeting minutes, contractor payments, and property sales. Patterns slowly emerged. Several contractors received unusually large payments. Maintenance projects were billed but never completed. Properties belonging to homeowners under constant HOA pressure were later purchased by investment companies, connected through the same local developer. Coincidence? Maybe. But the questions kept growing. Then another surprise arrived. One current board member contacted Nathan privately. I can't keep lying, she said. She handed him copies of internal emails discussing selective rule enforcement. The messages revealed deliberate plans to pressure specific residents while ignoring identical violations elsewhere. Nathan finally had independent evidence supporting the recordings. The investigation accelerated. Months later, the courtroom was filled with homeowners. Some had moved away years earlier. Others had waited a long time to tell their stories. Harold Benson testified first. "I should have spoken sooner." Daniel Ruiz carefully presented financial records. Each document connected another piece of the puzzle. Detective Hale explained how electronic records matched board communications. Finally, Elaine Mercer took the witness stand. "Our decisions were made for the good of the community." Ruiz remained calm. "Then why were enforcement actions applied differently to different homeowners?" Elaine hesitated. "They were case by case." Ruiz displayed internal emails. Silence spread across the courtroom. The emails contradicted her testimony. Several former board members lowered their eyes. One quietly admitted they had followed instructions without questioning them. Just when it seemed every important document had already been presented, Detective Hale entered with newly recovered accounting files. A backup ledger had been discovered during a forensic review of HOA computers. Every unexplained payment appeared inside it. Every contractor, every transfer, every missing dollar. The room became completely silent. Judge Rebecca Collins reviewed the evidence carefully before speaking. "The integrity of community governance depends upon transparency and equal treatment." She paused. "The evidence presented demonstrates a prolonged failure of those responsibilities." For the first time, Elaine Mercer had nothing to say. The HOA board was dissolved. Independent financial audits were ordered. New elections were supervised under revised community rules. Former residents received settlements through civil agreements. Most importantly, homeowners once afraid to speak began attending meetings again. Months later, Nathan stood outside the same clubhouse where the investigation had begun. Children rode bicycles down the street. Neighbors greeted one another without fear. Linda joined him on the sidewalk. "Think it'll stay this way?" Nathan smiled. "Only if good people keep showing up." He looked toward the clubhouse one final time before walking home. Communities are strongest, not because corruption never appears, but because ordinary people find the courage to confront it when it does. And sometimes, the most important door to open is the one that has been kept closed for far too long.